What are the first two words that come to mind when I talk about simplifying fractions? Those would probably be the common denominator. So these are two words which might send shivers down many people's spines. Especially me because I can't spell denominator. You might have been told that this is just a thing that you have to note for fractions and that the denominator has to be the same. But you might wonder why. Well, if we go back in time to collecting like terms, let's say I want to add a half and a third together. You might have been taught, okay, we need to make a common denominator, so we'll times this one by 3 and this one by 2, and boom, there's the answer. But the reason behind why that works is because we can only add in relative portions. So what I mean by that is the classic example of a pizza. So if I was to cut a pizza in half and then cut a separate pizza into thirds, I'd wonder how much pizza would I have eaten if I ate half of this one and then a third of this one. And there's no real nice metric to kind of measure how much pizza that is. So what we do is we start subdividing until there's a point where we can subdivide them pretty evenly. Now, in this case, I am going to have to make some adjustments of the pizza. So I'm going to make sure I can split it into half with a proper integer number of slices, as well as into thirds. So the way we can do that is if we split it into intervals of 6. Now we can see that we can eat a half the pizza and then eat a third of a pizza. Pretty handily enough. So by eating a third of the pizza, that's 3 out of the 6 regions. Whereas if we eat a third of the pizza, a third of the other pizza, that's 2 out of the 6 regions. So that common denominator just comes from the fact that we need to be able to subdivide this particular pizza in such a way that I can split it into halves and thirds. So by eating half of one pizza, which is 3/6 of it, plus a third, which is another 2/6 of it, that's equal to 3 plus 2/6 or 5/6. I really struggle saying that word. But we can note that from adding a half and a third, we get 5/6. So the general rule then for common denominators is, note that in the half plus third case, we got the visualization of splitting it into integer slices by splitting it into halves and thirds separately. And we end up with sixths. So we can note that 6 is just 2 times 3. So in the simplest case, the common denominator for a fraction is the denominator of the first fraction multiplied by the denominator of the second fraction, where f1 and f2 are fractions. And we'll be using that trick to simplify different kinds of fractions.